Today I'm going to be doing an IPS display mod on a Game Boy Advance SP. This kit is from an eBay seller called Electronic Convenient for You. Apparently, at least they told me that places like retrosix, handheldlegend, etc. are their clients, and that only, I think it was Funny Playing is their competitor. So in theory, this should be the same quality stuff that you get from those bigger names, but essentially at a fraction of the price. You can see I've already taken apart the kit to some degree. Here's the glass lens and the display itself, the circuit for the display, and a wire that apparently needs to be soldered. Also some strange white strip. No idea what that is for. It might just be garbage. In here, we have basically everything you need, except it looks like they didn't include hinges. In here also, you can see we have the buttons, a little divider, and the hardware. So the packaging was pretty good. The quality of the shell actually is kind of better than I was expecting. It seemed like it fit together really nice, at least to itself. We'll have to see how it fits with the circuit board. But I'm pretty impressed with the shell for the price this was at. I think I paid, let me look here. Okay, I paid $47.50 plus a few bucks for shipping. And so for that price, I think it's pretty good. It includes the pre-cut shell and everything you need. So yeah, let's give this a go. This is the system I'm going to be sacrificing. It's not in the best condition. My least favorite part about it is that by these rubber nubs, someone has been digging at those, trying to take it apart or something, and it looks like they failed. I do also have this red one. It's similar condition as the platinum one, but it's better on around those buttons, no dig marks, so I'm happy with that about it. So I'm going to keep this one original. So we're going to sacrifice this one, put in the new display and the new shell, and see how it looks. Let's go through the process. First step, of course, is that every screw on the back here needs to come out. We'll start with the battery cover. Switch to a tri-wing bit. I am counting only 3 screws holding this board down. Switch back to a Phillips. Oh, that was sudden. We can move this to the side. Anything loose I should take out, so I'm just going to dump this over. Here I'll use a dental tool to take out these rubber pieces. B button just came out. Switch back to tri-wing. What happens now? Back to the Phillips. Popped off. Should. Okay. There we go. Slides. There we go. That was harder than I thought. Now the biggie, the hinges. This hinge is giving me a run for my money. I think we're getting close though. Oh, so I felt it coming out the other end. There. Okay, let's get it in the closed. So here I have the next pieces, the display itself, front lid, and the circuit. First thing we'll do is put this here. Wait a minute. So they don't tell you this, but this white piece I was wondering about earlier is apparently an adhesive that I can only assume is used to mount this. Plug this connector in. It's very tiny. Okay. Looks like it's overhanging the edge, which is probably not a good thing. Do a fit test and see if that's an issue. Yeah, that's cutting it real close, but it looks like it's gonna make it. Apparently it is bad if the metal surface on the back of the circuit touches the metal surface on the back of the screen. So lift this out of the way and get this in place. Now that I'm on the last screw, I'm going to decide that it makes sense to cover the screen with the provided protector. On the hinges, we'll pop off the original caps because they did actually come with new ones. Well, this is the lowest quality piece so far. A lot of overhang on that injection mold, a lot of slop. Touch them up with an X-Acto knife to take off that excess plastic. And after cleaning them up, they look pretty good. At this point, I'm going to solder that small red wire they provided. So I'll stick this down with a little bit of tape. The strip on this wire is pretty long for what it needs to be, so I'm going to cut it down a bit. So we've got that pad wetted. Wire is attached. Now we need to pass all of this through the slot here. Oh man, that doesn't look good. That is a tiny opening. Yeah, comparing it to the original, look at that difference. That needs to be cut out. With our handy knife, we will do that. Okay, much better. I hope it's big enough to get that wire through too. Looks like it does. It clears. Gonna want to pull that wire all the way through. I'm going to pinch the wire right before the solder joint and pull it through with, not with that. So pinch the wire to the flex. Okay, now we'll flip this over and close it. Take our hinge, push it in. Let's get the other one. Oop, okay. Let's open it. All right, that looks like it worked. Close it again and get this guy back on. Or on the first time. Okay. Now this one was a Phillips. Guess the next thing we should do are the buttons. Now we do need to get this speaker film out of this one. Looks like it's pretty loose. All right, good. Set that in. Grab our speaker. And that fits in pretty good. Next, we'll need the circuit board. Okay, so now is the moment of truth for doing this wire soldering. So like before, I'm going to strip this shorter again because it's longer than it needs to be. So the pad we're going for is Q12B. First thing is going to be to tin it. Looks like I actually just took the solder that was on it off of it. Okay, now plugging this back in is going to be a little tricky. Man, this is tough. This is no joke, kids. Oh, it went in. Now I lost it. Okay, it's in there. We're going to have to try and do this side by side. Did I get it in there enough? I'll let go and see if it's in enough. It is. Okay, we'll finish it. Yeah, that is not pushed up all the way. I'll try and tweezer pinch it closed. Nice. Okay, that's good. So now, get that speaker back in and set this down. Make sure that wire is how to route it so it's not in the way. My goal is to avoid that button at all costs. All the buttons are pressing, so I think we're good. Now we'll take the base piece and put in the small square nut. And looking at our old one for comparison, that should be all we need. Close this. Well, it turned on. can start doing the finishing touches. First, the sticker. See if we can do this with any sort of accuracy. Well, it's much easier to get on than the other sticker. Curious how that looks compared to the real one. Not bad. So these don't actually have adhesive in them. Oh, it looks like they're oversized so they can just stuff in. Oh wait, no, that's just the wrong one. Goes up here. That seems like it'll hold itself. It'll be much easier to take off, that's for sure. Can still kind of see the screw head through that. Okay, it's done. So let's give this thing a final look. Pretty good. You can actually see up in this ridge, it kind of looks like uneven paint spray. It's not that noticeable. On this side, there's a little bit as well. I don't know how well it's showing up in the light here, but you can tell it's not, the paint is not perfectly uniform, but overall it looks decent. My biggest complaint actually is probably the bottom edge here. So you can actually see the edge of the bottom part of the casing sticking out here, which is not ideal. Let's compare that to the real one, where obviously it's a nice smooth seam right there. On this one, it's kind of jutting out. On the inside, we have a little bit more of that noticeable uneven paint. It's, again, not terrible. The seam is really prominent now. When I open the lid, I can put my fingernail right over it. Screen looks really good. The gold caps that cover the screws, you can actually see the screws through them to some degree. Not a huge deal. One thing I noticed is that the hinge, I mean, it locks in the right position and it'll go all the way back and lock there, but it doesn't like snap shut anymore. Normally it should snap shut right about there. Compare that to the real one. You can kind of hear that click and then the snap shut. So I'd like to blame this on the shell, but I'm pretty sure I probably just messed something up when putting the hinges in. It's not a huge deal, it just doesn't have that satisfying snap shut. Gotta do it yourself. Now that we've had a look, let's try and compare the screens. Quite a bit of difference. Wow, that looks excellent. Volume still works. This display really makes a big difference. I'm gonna mess with the brightness. So you can get it, it's hard to see on the camera, but I think there's like 10 adjustments you can make here. Very cool display detail and colors. Let's compare that to the original now. The original definitely feels lacking in color depth and just general vibrance and brightness. Of course, this screen is front lit since it's the original SP. You can really see the difference when you compare these side by side. In terms of feel, this definitely does feel lower quality than the original. Just holding in your hand, it feels a little bit lighter and the plastic just feels off. The texture is a little different. This generally just feels a little cheaper. However, the display is phenomenal. Now, I would say a drastic improvement over this. It does definitely take away some of that nostalgic feel with kind of the graininess and the smoothing of the pixels and the textures, and some people might really like that and think it's important. But this was really fun to try, and I think I'll probably try playing it a little bit more before I inevitably set it down and never touch it again. But anywho, that's the IPS screen mod and reshell for the Game Boy Advance SP. I hope you found this interesting, and thanks for watching.